Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We are on the way to 11,300 subscribers. And if you could click the like button, I would be incredibly grateful. And I know I say that every time, but genuinely, if you could right now click the like button, I would be incredibly grateful. Lots to talk about today. Of course, Calafiori is the main talking point with the ongoing rumours. Mikel Arteta did an interview today. So for the first time, really, since the end of the season, we have heard from Mikel Arteta. David Raya, of course, we've announced that David Raya has signed for 4 years. So we'll be speaking about that as well. And Raya's come out and spoken, and a few other little bits and pieces. But it's good to see so many of you here on this Thursday evening. It's basically the weekend. VV Vlad, Sack of the Goat, Max, Cringe, Hyper, Emilio, Jax Hacks, Jakob, Leeds Gunner, Adam, Adu Ventura. Come on, yesterday was my first live. You love to see it. Welcome aboard. Dominic, Kazanex, Kinkai, Say, Ross, Pekka, Hannah, Wobojog. It is good to see you all. I hope you're doing well. President Bozo is in the building as well. But look, we'll start with David Raya. So David Raya, we all knew it was coming, has announced, or the club have announced that we've signed him, 4-year deal. So we've got him until 2028. When do you expect the here we go? We'll talk about that in a minute. Fab just posted about Calafiori. What, like literally just this second? What's he saying? Let me have a gander. Okay, here we go. So literally, this is the on the pulse news that you get on the Rory Talks Football channel. Fabrizio Romano tweeted this 58 seconds ago. After Ricardo Calafiori's green light to move and contract, Arsenal have made direct contact with Bologna. Talks between the clubs have started. No issues on Calafiori's contract terms. Up to the clubs now. Arsenal currently ahead with no bid from Chelsea so far. So, Calafiori side of things, tick. That's very good because in realistically, in most cases when it comes to signing players from Serie A, signing Italians from Serie A particularly, the hardest part is not negotiating with the club, it's negotiating with the player. Now, the fact that we've managed to do that and he's happy to come to Arsenal, he's happy with the contract proposal. By the way, apparently we're going to be paying him about 50,000 a week, 50k a week. 50k a week. That's half of what we're paying Eddie Nketiah. Yeah? That is sensational. If that is true, he's agreed to it. And so now we've just got to wrap up the deal with Bologna. But I think that'll be absolutely fine. Like Juventus are never going to compete with us. So really, it would only be if Chelsea came in that there would potentially be an issue. Romano waited for Rory's live stream to start before it seems that way. It seems like he was waiting. What's this? I'm hearing Saliba to Real Madrid. No. Real Madrid can't afford more this summer than they've already done pretty much. Like Mbappe is their summer signing. Certainly not Saliba, who would cost them well over 100 million. Nowhere near. That's less than Mo El Neni. Yeah, it is, yeah. Cedric was on 100. Not nearly. Cedric all in was on 100 grand a week. We are wearing the same shirt. Why are you copying me? Why are you copying me? Why are you copying? Do you know what? I actually rate that, right? I rate that from you, Smithy. You've seen what shirt I'm wearing, and you definitely have seen that I'm wearing it because you'd have seen my TikToks today because you watch all of them. And you'd have seen I was wearing this, and you went, I'm going to turn up to the live stream wearing my Arsenal shirt. It's like when we watch Arsenal play, and we all put our Arsenal shirts on. You've come to support. I rate it, Smithy. It's good to see. If we sign Fab, where will Timber go? I've made a video on this on TikTok today, right? We need... By the way, what do you mean by Fab? Do you mean Calafiori? The point is, people have been saying, right, if we sign Calafiori, what happens to Timber? We need to get out of this mentality of having a starting back four and then no one else really plays, right? This is how it would work. We sign Calafiori. He probably takes a little bit of time to get bedded in the first place. Maybe he is then our best choice to have at left back. And maybe our best back four is Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori. Yuri and Timber still plays pretty much every game at that point. Because Timber plays when Ben White needs a rest or is injured. Timber plays when Calafiori needs a rest or is injured. Timber probably plays when Gabriel needs a rest or is injured because Timber plays at left back, Calafiori plays at left centre back. Anytime a single sub needs to be made, Timber comes on. And by the way, that's not necessarily Timber. That could be Ben White that is in that position. It could be Calafiori that's in that position. The point is this. We no longer have a set back four. And last year, we didn't have a set back four either. Last year, we had Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel. We knew if they were fit, they were starting. At left back, we had a problem. And the best example of that problem was this. When we played against Bayern, Villa, and Bayern again, we played with 3 different left backs. First game against Bayern, we played Kivior. It didn't work. Then we played against Villa, we played Zinchenko. We lost that game. Then against Bayern in the second leg, we played Tomiyasu. We played 3 different. So that shows you Arteta was not settled on a left back last season. Now, could that left back be Timber? Maybe. And if it is Timber, then maybe actually Calafiori is coming in as backup. Maybe he's coming in as backup for Gabriel and backup for Rory and Timber, but he's a better option than, for example, Jakub Kivior. And there's been more interest this evening from Juventus in Jakub Kivior. The point is, we go from having a back 4 to having 6 defenders that can all start games. That's what Man City have. That's what you have to compete with. And that is how you go deep into the season. There is a reason that Man City are so good at the end of every season because their players are fresher. Their players are sharper. And the reason that they're sharper, other than Rodri, because he has to play every game, other than Rodri, they rotate because they've got 6 defenders. They've got Walker, Stones, Diaz, Akanji, Ake, Gvardiol. When they signed Gvardiol, did anyone say what happens to Akanji? What happens to Diaz? No, because they rotate between all of them. And that is what we need to do. We need to be at a point where you can look to the bench and say, I'm not worried if that person has to start the next 5 games. And that really, you want that to be the position in every position. It's not. And that's why we need to make more signings this summer. That's why we need the Saka backup / competition. But the point is, bringing in Calafiori massively increases that. You know, if we're instead of looking to the bench at Zinchenko, we're now looking at the bench and it's Calafiori. That's a huge upgrade. It's a huge upgrade. Might be an unpopular opinion, but I would rather sell Tommy than sell Kivior. I think it's an interesting one. I think I would too. I think I would rather sell Tomiyasu than Kivior. Tomiyasu has proven that he is injury prone. I don't know if that will ever go away. I think being right-footed actually at this point makes him less valuable to us. We've got White, we've got Timber. And so I would sell Tomiyasu. I think Kivior is also better for the left-hand side. The reason I think we will sell Kivior and not Tomiyasu is that there is genuine demand for Jakub Kivior from AC Milan, from Juventus. And so I think that's what happens. But what do you have to say about Calafiori's injury record? It's slightly concerning, but not. So this is the thing, right? He had an awful injury in 2018-19, which was basically his first ever season. At that point, he was 17 years old, right? 17 years old. He had a ligament injury, put him out for over a year. Since then, he's had a lot of small injuries, right? But the biggest one of those injuries was a muscular issue that kept him out for just over a month. 39 days is the longest he's missed from any injury. Now, yeah, okay, it's a bit annoying that he has these knocks that he seems to pick up. Last season, though, he played the whole season. He missed 3 days in total. So that may be something that is, as his body is maturing, as he's getting older, those injuries are phasing out. That's what you've got to hope for. That's what you've got to hope for. Is 50 mil steep for Calafiori, or is it justified? I don't know. I've never seen him play. I think it's justified. I think it's just. By the way, if we agree on 55 million euros, that's. I mean, what's 50? That's not. It's not going to be 50 million quid. It's going to be less than that. 55 euros. So that is 46.6 million pounds if we agree on 55 million euros. Like 47 mil. He's going to be on 50 grand a week, by the way. So you're saving that amount of money. I don't think that's too bad. I don't think that's too bad. Let's compare it to a deal that's happening today. Let's compare it to Max Kilman. who is apparently going to West Ham for 40 million. If Max Kilman's 40 million, Calafiori is a steal at 47 million. This is a 22-year-old who has already solidified himself as one of the best centre-backs in Italy. He is absolutely going to be starting for Italy for however long to come. I think the versatility, the fact he can play at left-back and at centre-back, I think in this market, look, time's gone by, you'd have said that's crazy. But in this market, I think it's decent value. Can you see Timber being used in midfield? Possibly. And this is the other thing with Timber. Timber's versatility is unbelievable, right? And so again, we could see Timber in midfield at certain times. I could see a starting 11, which is White, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Timber, Rice, Erdegaard, and then whatever the front three is, Saka, Havertz, Martinelli, assuming we don't make any other signings. I could absolutely see that, 100%. You know, Timber, people don't think Timber's ever played as a holding midfielder because technically at Ajax, he started games as a centre-back for Ajax in the same way John Stones starts games for Man City at centre-back. But for Ajax, a lot of the time, they'd almost form a three and then he would push up from centre-back into holding midfield. It would happen a lot. He'd carry the ball into midfield. He'd go and sit in holding midfield himself. So it's another option, right? It's another option. Hit the like. Yeah, if you could hit the like button, there's over 200 of you here. If we can hit 100 likes on the stream, that would be sensational. Rory, Kivior plus Zinchenko for Theo Hernandez. Do you think they accept? No. I don't think AC Milan would accept that, personally. I would love it. But I don't think AC Milan would accept it. Did you see the Arsenal Academy Insta announce some players that got their first pro contracts? And Cheeto wasn't one of them. Yeah. There were seven academy players received their first pro contracts today. But then again, I'm not sure Cheeto can get a pro contract because he's not 17. So Cheeto wouldn't be able to be on that list anyway. One of them was Brian Okonkwo, which is Arthur Okonkwo's brother. And there were a few others. But no, I don't think Cheeto would be able to get a professional. That's the whole issue, right? We can't offer him a professional contract yet. It has to be, I can't remember how it works, but you can't get a professional contract till you're 17. Any new news about Gyökeres, or is that a cold deal now? I wouldn't say it's a cold deal, but there's no new news. There is no new news. Do you know what I think is going to happen? Truthfully, I think this is how our window goes. I could be completely wrong. Like, realistically, Arteta and Edu regularly just do a madness and something comes from far left. But if I had to guess at this stage what we're going to do, considering it looks like our first signing other than David Raya is going to be Calafiori if it happens, in my head, that was like the fourth priority. I think we absolutely sign a midfielder. There's no way we get to the end of this window without signing a midfielder. I would be baffled. I think we sign a winger to compete with Bukayo Saka. At that point, I think we wait and see what the striker market is saying later in the window. So I think because we can start next season with Kai Havertz up top, no problem. And if Kai Havertz is injured or whatever, we can still start Jesus. He is still an Arsenal player. I think we get the midfielder, we get the winger, we try and get our sales in place, and then we look back to the striker market. Is Osimhen still available? Is Gyökeres still available? Because they're still available, have their prices come down? If their prices have come down enough and we've generated enough in sales, we bring one of them in late in the window. That is something that I could see happening. I don't think, because we won't know how much money we can spend until we've started selling players, I don't think we will spend big on a striker until we've got the midfielder and the winger. Because I think now, that's the striker of the remaining positions. The striker is the lowest priority. Is Nuno Tavares going to Ajax? Do you know the fee? No, there's been a couple of things, actually. So I've written this down. I can't remember who it was that spoke about Tavares to Ajax. Who was it? Sky Cava. So yesterday, old Cava from Sky said that Ajax are interested in Nuno Tavares and that Arsenal are hoping to raise 8 million or close to the 8 million that we paid for him. So Ajax potentially interested. And then Di Marzio said today that Lazio have held a meeting with Nuno Tavares' camp and are exploring the situation. The left back could be a possibility for the Serie A side, but is not a priority as things stand. So Ajax floating around, Lazio floating around. We're going to get, if we're lucky, what we paid for him, which was 8 million. So yeah, we'll see. Ain't this the guy that got cooked for calling out betting? Yeah. I prefer not to speak. Really. If I speak, I am in big trouble. Would you sell Kivior and Zinchenko if we sign Calafiori? Yes, I would. I'd actually sell Tomiyasu and Zinchenko if it was my choice. But I would sell Kivior and Zinchenko, yeah. Would you be happy with Marino? I think we can do better. I think there are better options around there. But yeah, so on Calafiori, obviously we've just read out that bit from Fabrizio Romano, which is obviously by far the most recent on Calafiori. Corriere di Bologna, which is a specifically Bologna-based outlet, said that Arsenal are now expected to make a €55 million bid for Calafiori, and it will be one that will be impossible for Bologna to turn down. The deal could be closed by this weekend. Player has his suitcases packed for England. Now, that's where you can take what could be a reliable, reliable outlet, and then they ruin it by adding that the player has his suitcases packed for England. How do they know that he's got his suitcases packed? But no, €55 million bid. Supposedly Bologna won't turn that down. Happy days. Tutto Mercato, actually this morning, Tutto Mercato said that Arsenal's €50 million offer has satisfied Bologna, who have said yes to the bid, and that Calafiori is convinced with Arsenal's project. Tutto Mercato chat shit, I think is the reality there. There is no one else suggesting that a €50 million bid has been accepted, and that's classic Tutto Mercato. So I would ignore that one. But I think €55 million will probably be there or thereabouts what we end up paying for him. Calafiori was a gem for Bologna and Italy in Serie A and Euros, despite the own goal. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Timber in the six means Calafiori and White have sensational cover when they're overlapping Gabby and Saka. Yeah, exactly. And I think this is the big thing for me. The big thing for me is unlocking Gabriel Martinelli again. Like, that has to be... and people look at like, okay, we can bring in wingers and we can bring in this, that, the other. To improve on last season, one of the cheapest ways that you can improve on last season is by taking a player that you already own in Gabriel Martinelli and getting the best out of him again. We nowhere near got the best out of Martinelli last season compared to the season before. Get the best out of him again, you unlock a player that is worth 60, 70 million quid. So a left-footed left back, I think, helps that. Calafiori will overlap Martinelli. He will underlap Martinelli. And then, of course, the left-sided central midfielder will be important as well. It could end up being Declan Rice. It could end up being that someone else plays in the six. But I liked the runs Calafiori made as well. He made forward runs quite a lot. He does. He carries the ball. One of the stats was the number of let me bring it up. One of the stats that's interesting. Where is it? Yeah, successful dribbles. He's like in the top 3% of defenders in Serie A for successful dribbles. So he is happy to dribble with the ball and carry it. I'll use a different website actually to bring up the numbers of the distance that he gains with those carries. But no, it's a good thing. What do you think happens to Jesus next season? The rumors about him being up for sale have gone quiet the last few months. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think we keep him. I think if you look at how slow our sales have been so far, I just don't think he's someone that we end up selling unless someone comes in with a big bid for him, which I would be surprised. Like his knee injuries, he'd be too much of a gamble. But what I see in Gabriel Jesus next season is an incredibly versatile forward who can play anywhere across the front three and who, when we're struggling to break teams down, can come on. Like we saw it last season. We saw in very small glimpses the best of Gabriel Jesus last season in terms of the assist against Bayern Munich when he came on in the home leg. Like that sort of thing if he's not playing week in, week out, and he only has to come off the bench for 30 minutes or 20 minutes here and there, left side, right side, like, that's fine. That's fine. Now, by the way, we can't fully rule out the fact Gabriel Jesus could get back to near his best, right? I'm not convinced he will. I think that knee injury was problematic, but he's had a whole summer. He's not had surgery this summer, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. But he's had a whole summer to get fit, properly fit. He could hit the ground running next season. Like, you never know. But I do think we keep him because he is an incredibly talented player. Fab just sent another tweet. Another tweet, or just the one that I read out a tweet right at the start. So if you're referring to that one, yeah, no, that is the one that we read out. But yeah, Fabrizio's on the case. Do you think we will submit a bid today? Not sure. I don't think we'll know until Ornstein drops a bomber. Realistically, if we are willing to wait on Jesus' recovery, we could wait on Timber. Yeah, of course. Look, there's no guarantee that Timber hits the ground running next season, by the way. Not at all. Things that cannot happen next season, Trossard at right wing. Yeah, 100%. I don't want to see Trossard at right wing. As it stands, if Saka can't play, Jesus starts on the right. Long term, I think that in itself is a problem because if Saka gets injured, I don't think Jesus can start off the right week in, week out. And in that scenario, I would want us to have another right winger that is a genuine competitor for Saka. And really, profile-wise is the same. Because the issue is, if you repeatedly have to start using Jesus off the right, everything changes. Like, Jesus is a completely different player to Bukayo Saka. The whole dynamic of the right-hand side changes if Jesus plays. So you need a player that is far more similar to Saka, in my opinion. Do you think Italy will win the Euros? No. That was... did you do that deliberately yesterday? Arsenal will go big for Guimaraes. Arsenal will not sign a striker. Arsenal will sign a winger for 45 to 50 million. We'll see. What's the news on Gyökeres? There really isn't any. There really hasn't been anything on Gyökeres for a while, to be honest. So, I mean, the good news is he's not moving anywhere else, right? At some point in time, Gyökeres will move. 100%. Like, ultimately, Sporting are not a team that can afford to turn down 70, 80 million pounds. They're just not. So at some point, he will move. The longer this window goes without him moving, almost the better for us. Because I think if we do sign him, it will be late in the window. So it's not a bad thing. Anyway, look, other stuff that has happened today. David Raya. So obviously we announced his contract. He said, after a year on loan as a gunner, I can finally say that I am an Arsenal player for the coming years. I'm excited to see what the future holds, but always living in and enjoying the present. It's a dream come true to be here. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all of the support that you've given me throughout the last year. So he's buzzing. It's interesting. Fab reposted the Calafiori tweet. Yeah, maybe something moved on that. Not sure. Do you think England will win with that formation? We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about England in a sec, actually, because it's a good point. Mikel Arteta's been speaking a lot today. One of the things that he spoke about was his contract. Look, as it stands, Mikel Arteta is out of contract next summer. But on his contract, he said, things happen in a natural way, and our relationship is that good that I don't predict any issues happening, but things do have to develop in the right way, and it will happen. So there is no update on his contract. Nothing has happened so far. But he seems to be suggesting that it's, he's not envisaging that there will be any problems with the contract, which is good. ABC de Sevilla, which is a Sevilla-based outlet. Sevilla's loan move for Albert Sambi Lokonga is as good as done after reaching an agreement with Arsenal on a formula for the purchase option. Sevilla are open to making the €15 million buy option clause mandatory if certain objectives are met next season. So what that suggests is Sambi Lokonga will go on loan. If he performs well, he will be sold for €15 million next summer. €15 million isn't great, but it's actually better than some of the numbers that we had heard. That's what, like 11 million quid, something like that. Maybe closer to 12 million quid. But that is only if he meets certain conditions, and we don't know what those conditions are. So hopefully he does meet those conditions and that criteria, because otherwise we're stuck with him, which would be problematic. Any opinions on Jean Garcia to Arsenal? It's nearly confirmed after we beat Madrid in the race. I think it's fine. I've not seen a huge amount of him. Inaki Kanya seems to really like him, who's the goalkeeper coach that wanted Raya. 20 million quid for a backup. Fine. No problem. There is a watch along tomorrow. Yes, we will be live on Tifo for the Portugal-France game tomorrow. So actually tomorrow, the way it will work, we'll be live on YouTube at 7:15 rather than 6:30, because obviously the Spain-Germany game is at 5. So it'll be Spain-Germany game. There won't be a watch along for that, but I will be watching it. We'll then go live on YouTube at 7:15, and straight after the YouTube stream, we'll be live on Tifo for a watch along of Portugal versus France. So that's how that's going to go. Of course, tonight and tomorrow night we'll be live on Twitch as well. Link to that is also down in the description. Those conditions are better be virtually guaranteed to be hit. The one thing you don't want those conditions to be is like an appearances condition, and it gets towards the end of the season and they decide that they actually probably don't want to spend 15 million euros on him, so they just stop using him. That's the worst thing that can possibly happen, because then he comes back, it looks like he's been dropped at the end of the season, and it's a car crash. Has your dream transfer window changed? Yeah, it has. It has for sure. When creating an account on Tifo, I need a referral code, but I don't know what it is. Can someone help me? Yeah, the referral code on Tifo is Rory, RORY, full caps. Capital R, capital O, capital R, capital Y. I don't rate Raya much. He should be our number 2, and we signed Valles or Bulka. I have a feeling he'll prove to not be good enough this season like Ramsdale did last season. Thoughts? I think you're wrong. I think you're completely wrong, in my opinion. I think David Raya is a top goalkeeper, and specifically, he is absolutely fantastic. And when I say absolutely fantastic, I mean he is the best in Europe at what it is that we ask him to do. That is coming for high. Look, the way that we have set up entirely, we send teams out to the wings, right? We block off central access to our box through Declan Rice, the other midfielder, Saliba, Gabriel. We block off central access to our box. We force teams out wide. We keep them out wide until eventually they cross the ball in. David Raya is, by a long way, the best goalkeeper in Europe at coming and claiming crosses. And that is how we regain possession. That is what he is there for. When it comes to shot stopping, is he the best shot stopper in the world? No. Does he have to save many shots? No. That's genuinely, it sounds silly to some people because he's a goalkeeper. Making saves is not the biggest issue for him because he prevents goals in different ways. And one of those is by coming for the high balls. The other is by being a sweeper keeper. He is excellent at those two things. And so he hardly ever punches. That is literally the biggest thing I could possibly mention, is how rarely he punches the ball. He catches the ball. And we see it all the time. And one massive example I would use is Jordan Pickford. Jordan Pickford loves to punch the ball, almost as if he thinks that punching the ball away looks better. But all it does is allow a team to continue momentum against you because you give them the ball back in your own half. I think David Raya, I think that part of David Raya's game is so underrated. So underrated. And yeah, he won the Golden Glove. He won the Golden Glove. Our defensive record was fantastic last season. And people that try and take that away from him and say, well, it's just about the defense. The defense can only play in the way that it does because of David Raya. Now, David Raya can only play in the way that he does because of the defense. It's a squad effort, and every single part of that squad is important in their own right, in my opinion. People were asking about England. So journalists in England today, Rob Dorset was one of them who works at Sky, coming out today and saying that England are looking at playing a back three in the game against Switzerland, and that we're looking at playing both Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham as 10s, right? So for me, the way that ends up working, if Bellingham and Foden are 10s, realistically, there's only, and we play a back 3/back 5, it's going to be Walker, Stones, and Konza as the back three. And it'll be Konza instead of Guehi because Guehi is suspended. He's got 2 yellow cards. So it'll be Konza, Guehi, Konza, Stones, and Walker as the back three. Trent Alexander-Arnold as the right wing back. Bukayo Saka as the left wing back. Mainu, probably, and Declan Rice. It'll be Declan Rice and someone, but probably Kobe Mainu. And then the 2 10s, Foden and Bellingham, and then Harry Kane up top. That's the only way I see that formation working. If the only way I can see us doing a back three and playing Foden and Bellingham is basically a 5-2-2-1, realistically, or a 3-5-2-1 or what? No, I don't even know what that is. It's basically a 5-2-2-1. That's what it is. Orny Bomber, you better not be that. Ross, if you've just trolled me, we're having words. There's no Orny Bomber. Ross, that's a disgrace. Ross, that is a disgrace. There is no Orny Bomber. I've just been baited. Foden can go on the bench. Well, look, I do argue Foden is very lucky to keep his place ahead of Cole Palmer. I don't even think Cole Palmer's been that good, but I don't think Foden has either. Jude Bellingham keeps his place because he pops up with the goals that we need. That's about it. Like, I don't think Bellingham has performed well. But honestly, I think we could probably do well. I think this could probably do well. Ban from Guess the Gooner. 4 million for Mika Biereth, apparently, according to The Athletic. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. So Mika Biereth apparently is going to go to Sturm Graz permanently. 4 million quid. It's just, how do other clubs get so much fucking money for their academy players? It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. Rory really have an agenda against Foden. There is a rumor that he dated his sister, but he broke up with her because he found her boring. Sorry, is the rumor that I dated my sister or that Phil Foden dated his sister? Because I don't have a sister. So, I mean, I don't think Phil Foden did that either, in fairness. I don't really know where that comment went to. 4 million, that's pocket change? Yeah, it is. Terrible sales price, embarrassing. Yeah. It's not great. No, I don't have a sister. We could loan him to the Championship and get 15 million. Yeah, that's the thing. Why not just loan him again? Why not just, like, I don't get it. Loan him in the Championship. Prove that he can do it in England. Minimum doubles the price. You prove that you can do it in England. It doubles the price. I don't get it. Who do you think has a higher ceiling amongst Saliba, Wirtz, Musiala, Saka, Simons, and Pedri? Rank them. Rank them by ceiling. Saliba 1, because I genuinely think Saliba's ceiling is being the best in the world. So Saliba 1, Musiala 2, Saka 3, Simons 4, Wirtz 5, Pedri 6. There we go. You can't force a player on loan. No, that's true, but you can encourage them. What about Bakayoko from PSV? I like Bakayoko from PSV, but the rumors on that got completely squashed. The rumors on Bakayoko, there were some really strong rumors, and then it basically came out that we haven't been linked to him in like months. So Fab just posted about Biereth saying we have a sell-on clause. Okay, Fabrizio's tweeted again. Bloody hell, we are absolute live action tonight. Mika Biereth joins Sturm Graz from Arsenal on a 4 million deal. Permanent move approved. There will be a sell-on clause for Arsenal too. Okay. Well, that's 4 million in the bank anyway. That's 4 million in the bank. I do not want Spurs getting back at Oko. No, maybe. Yeah, to be fair, when Siemens backed out of the Prem, chickened out of the Prem move, maybe that lowers him. Look, anyway, it is time for Guess the Gooner. The game where I give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. So get your fingers on your keyboards, because we are starting now. Clue number 1, this player joined Arsenal's academy in 2010. Clue number 1, this player joined Arsenal's academy in 2010. Clue number 2, they made 38 appearances for Arsenal's senior team. Clue number 2, they made 38 appearances for Arsenal's senior team. Clue number 3, they went on loan to 6 different clubs whilst at Arsenal. Clue number 3, they went on loan to 6 different clubs whilst at Arsenal. Clue number 4, they currently play in the Premier League. Clue number 4, they currently play in the Premier League. And clue number 5, they are a World Cup winner. Clue number 5, they are a World Cup winner. Who is the player? Right, make sure I don't get VAR checked. Lots of you were guessing Iwobi. It was not Iwobi. It was not Iwobi. There we go. The winner is John P. John P is the winner. It was indeed Emi Martinez. And John P was first. Second was JC Aouar. Third was Ethan Udall. Fourth was El Minister. And fifth was Carter. So there you go. Congratulations. VAR. VAR. Oh, there's VAR. There's VAR. Oh, for fuck's sake. Why is there a VAR check now? What are we VAR in here? What's the VAR for here? John said Martinez there. Who am I looking out for? Sorry, John. Sorry, John. Sorry, John. Kismayo Gunner has won it. He did spell it wrong, but we will give it. There's no one else that he was trying to spell there. Kismayo. I'm sorry, John. John, you have my humble apologies. Kismayo has won it. VAR check. John's goal disallowed. Offside. Goal given to Kismayo. I look like Yoda. Cheers, buddy. Cheers, buddy. I hope you're doing well, Sheikh Hamboob. I do hope you're doing well. Is BRF stock? Yes, BRF has been sold to Sturm Graz. BRF is gone. BRF is gone. Anyway, it is time for Guess the Non-Gooner. It is time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. You have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community, but not as much respect as Kismayo currently has. This player started their career at Stade Rennais. They moved from Stade Rennais to Hoffenheim. They moved from Stade Rennais to Hoffenheim. They moved from Hoffenheim to Leeds United. And that is it. That is it. Stade Rennais, Hoffenheim, Leeds United. Who is the player? We've got a winner. We've got a winner. Straight off the bat, VV Vlad. Bish bash bosh. It was indeed Jorginho Rutter. VV Vlad has won it. Congratulations to VV Vlad. Sportcat was second. Third was Ethan Udall. Fourth was JC Aouar. And fifth was Jake. So congratulations. Congratulations to Kismayo. Congratulations to VV Vlad. And that is going to be the end of the stream. Look, so tonight I'm going to the cinema. So for those of you that watch on Twitch, anyone else, have a good evening. For those of you watching on Twitch, I'm going to the cinema. It finishes at like 10. Hopefully I'll be live by about 10:30 as normal, but it might be slightly late. But other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Please do subscribe if you're new. Click the like button if you haven't done already. And yeah, tomorrow we're live a lot. We've got YouTube, we've got a watch along, and we've got Twitch tomorrow. So have a good Friday. If I don't speak to you until then, goodbye. Do-do-do-do.